program. You will be muted during this class, and we have your video blocked. You will only see the instructor's screen. At the top of your screen, you can find an exit full screen a button. This option, if you need to get to other things on your computer, you're welcome to ask questions or request that the instructor repeat any information at any time during today's program. You should see an icon at the bottom of your screen that says chat. Click on that to open the chat window. Chat is set to be seen by library staff only. Please note that any inappropriate comments will cause your immediate removal from the class. Sahar will be dropping a link for all the QR codes we have used during today's program for your ease. If you prefer, you may use the Q&A feature also located at the bottom of your screen to ask questions. For all questions, we may answer you directly, or you hold the question until a break comes in or at the end of the class. And we can also answer the question at the time when the topic is on, if it is pressing. A recording of today's class will be available in a few days on Plano Public Library's YouTube page. So if you would like to go back to any points or references, that is also an option. And this is a disclaimer. Instructors are not gardening experts. The purpose of today's class is to provide a general overview about gardening and introduce library resources to you. So plant smarter in North Texas. Why we said that? Because today's session is focused on gardening. We'll cover the essential basics you need to start growing plants with the space and resources you have. Gardening in North Texas comes with its own unique challenges and opportunities. And one of the tools for success is your local library. We'll show you how to make the most of Plano Library's resources to support and grow your gardening knowledge and your plants. So we'll go on business basics. Gardening is most rewarding when we work with nature, not against it. So to get started, it's important to understand your local planting zone, sunlight and temperature patterns, your native soil structure, and available water resources. Planning your garden layout, improving your soil, and selecting the right plants for your conditions are all keys to success. These basics also highlight an important principle: the value of planting native plants. Native species are adapted to your region's climate and soil, making them easier to grow, more resilient, and less dependent on extra water or fertilizers or pesticides. They also support local pollinators and wildlife, helping to strengthen your ecosystem. At the end, we'll look at a few essential tasks for the fall season, a perfect time for planting, preparing your garden for winter, and setting the stage for success. So, let's dig in. First comes the planting zones. Planting zones show which plant can survive the winter in your area based on average minimum temperatures. When choosing plants for your garden, it is important to know which zone they grow best in. The USDA hardiness zone map, this is shown here, and I have zoomed into, this is a screen grab from their website, and I have zoomed into Collin County. This helps the gardeners figure out which plants can survive the winter in their areas. It's based on the average lowest winter temperatures. So in 2023, the map was updated because many areas in the US have gotten warmer. As a result, Collin County, including Plano, is now in Zone 8B. which is 15-degree Fahrenheit to 20-degree Fahrenheit, and it has come up from 8A. Dallas also moved to 8B, and Houston changed from 9A to 9B. This change means some plants that cannot survive here before might do well now. And it's even more important to check the hardiness rating on plant labels, especially for perennials which need to survive year after year. Also, knowing your frost dates help you plant at the right time. So the last spring frost in Collin County is around March 21st, and the first fall frost is around November 14th. The last frost date signifies the appropriate end of the spring frost season, after which it is generally safe to plant tender crops outdoors. On the other hand, the first frost date marks the approximate start of the fall frost season, when temperatures are likely to drop below freezing again, potentially damaging or killing sensitive plants. I see a lot of comments and or raised hands. Sahar, is there a question there?
I don't, it's not looking like it. I think someone was having trouble seeing the screen. I was trying to clarify if it was the presentation or your camera, but it looks like they may have dropped off the call. So, okay, and it looks like the hand raise was a mistake. If you guys do have questions, feel free to put it in the chat or in the Q&A feature, and we'll get to those. But we're good for now. Thanks, Priyanka.
Thank you. Okay, I'll move on from here to the most important things, the light our plants need. You know, all plants require sunlight to photosynthesize, but the kind and the intensity of light changes throughout the day. Understanding light helps you place your plants where they'll grow best. Plant labels often mention full sun, partial sun, shade, or shade plants. Here's what those terms mean. Full sun plants require at least 6 hours of direct sunlight daily. These are bright, sunny open areas. Usually, flowering and fruiting plants fall under this category. If a plant is labeled heat or drought tolerant and full sun, it is a good bet that it will tolerate even the most intense summer sun. I found this picture on a gardening magazine website, and this perfectly shows how the light moves from, when the sun rises to when the sun sets, and where you'll find there will be afternoon shade or morning shade, or which areas are totally in shade or in full sun during the day. Partial sun or shade plants, they thrive with 3 to 6 hours of filtered sun. Plants that are labeled part sun will need a minimum amount of sun to thrive, but might do poorly with no direct sun. Part shade labels may mean that a morning sun may be good, but then full shade is required during the hottest part of the day. Northeast direction of the garden might be the best for these plants when the soft morning sun shines on them, but shade takes over as the day gets hotter, like caladiums. Full shade plants do best with very little direct sun. Often just bright, indirect light is needed. Shade plants may require anything from indirect light found on the north side of the house to the deep shade found under evergreens. True shade plants, such as ferns, can perish in too much sun. Filtered light, such as that found beneath a tree canopy, is a good setting for full shade plants. Be mindful, shade from trees, Fences or buildings can drastically impact light availability, even if your garden faces the right direction. There's another term we see, it's called softer versus stronger UV exposure. It's technically the same thing. Softer UV exposure requiring plants are those that can tolerate some shade, particularly in the afternoon. They will be well suited for this type of light exposure. Say lettuce or cilantro might wilt in the afternoon heat. So for tender morning, uh, for for tender plants, morning sun and the afternoon shade is better. Same conditions will be appreciated by non-tender shade plants like oak leaf hydrangeas. With the less intense UV exposure, the plants can fulfill their photosynthesis needs without scorching or wilting. For gardens receiving afternoon sun, which is the stronger UV exposure, classic summer flowers that bloom in the afternoon light, like sunflowers, lavenders, cornflowers, black-eyed Susan, etc., are well-suited plants for the stronger afternoon sun. So when buying new plants, your best clue to a plant's need is its native environment. Think local. Full sun in the Appalachian Mountains and full sun on the Gulf Coast are two very different things. It is important to use label recommendations as a guide and tailor those to your local conditions. So, sun mapping your garden, what is that? If you have been living in a place for some time, you may already know the sunlight exposure of your garden. But if you are gardening in a new place, understanding how sunlight moves across your space is essential for successful gardening, especially if you're growing sun loving vegetables or flowers. Here's how to accurately track sun exposure in your yard. Method one is manual observation. Just create a garden map. Create a rough outline of your garden, labeling each section clearly. Then track sunlight hourly on a clear day. Visit your garden once per hour for from sunrise to sunset and record the time each section receives its first sunlight or becomes shaded again. And logging your data will give you a whole pattern for the day. You can use digital methods like time lapse photography. Now, if you like playing with gadgets, this could be your method. Choose a fixed viewpoint of your garden, and from the same spot every hour during daylight, take a picture. Then compare light patterns of these photographs to see how the sunlight moves across the different garden zones you have. This will help you spot shade from trees, fences, or tall plants. But what do you do when it's off season? If it is not gardening season or the sun's angle is too low to be accurate, you can use tech tools to plan ahead. We are suggesting digital tools, and one of them is SunCal. The QR code is on the screen, and Sahar will put in the chat the link to it too. It's a free app, and you put in your date and location. You can put different dates, like if you're planning in December, you can put the date for March or April or May and see where the sun will be located, because by that time sun will be higher in the sky, and your UV exposure will become stronger for a certain place, or you'll get a stronger shade or not. This app will give you a good representation of what could possibly be the sun exposure of your garden. So that can help you with your garden planning. But do remember, digital tools and estimations are helpful, but nothing beats physically preparing or observing your space throughout the day and season. Your garden's sun map will evolve over time. Trees will grow, or some other building will come in the way. Just stay flexible and keep adjusting to maximize light for healthy plant growth. The next slide is for light indoors. Same concept of light applies to indoor plants. Some plants need direct sunlight, so we keep those on the windowsill, while others prefer bright indirect light, and some thrive in very low light conditions. So, south facing windows provide the most intense light, ideal for plants that need direct sunlight for several hours, like cacti and succulents or Areca palm, etc. Just think of their native places. They get a lot of uh, light. This plant where it is from will get a lot of light there. So they do good in direct sunlight for several hours. If you have only south facing windows available and you want to keep a plant that has low light requirements, you can diffuse the light with curtains or blinds. Texas sun can be brutal in summers, and plants may need protection indoors too. So keep that in mind. East or west facing windows also offer direct sunlight, but it's generally softer in the morning or evenings. Fiddle figs or monstera can take that, especially the morning light. North facing windows provide consistent, bright, indirect light throughout the day. Monstera, Ricina, crotons, money tree, philodendrons, these plants do well in bright, indirect light. Flowering plants like calanchos, orchids, and anthuriums can also thrive in bright, indirect light, but the light in bright is bright near the windows. Further away from the windows, low light requiring plants can be kept like sansevieria or snake plant, ZZ plant, aglaonemas, pethas. Consider the light requirements of your home when you place a plant in your house. Remember, the intensity of sunlight changes throughout the year, and you may have to adjust the placement of the plant accordingly. Rotating plants regularly ensures all sides receive adequate light. Observe your plant for signs of too much or too little light, such as leaf discoloration or leaf drop. I'll stop here to see if you have any questions.
Had a comment earlier saying great information. Thanks for sharing, Priyanka. I need to drop, but they'll go back to watch the recording. So our recording will be up for this in a couple of days. And then if
Yeah.
anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask in the Q&A feature or the chat.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
All right, let's move to our next essential thing, which is soil. So let's get down to the dirt on North Texas soil. And those who garden know why I to use that tone. Soil not only provides anchoring for plants, but play an important role in making moisture and nutrients available to them. By nurturing your soil, you will find greater ease growing turf and bedding plants or vegetables. For healthy plant growth, ideal soil should drain well, retain moisture, and contain essential nutrients. Soil consists of four components: air, water, mineral, and organic matter. Their varying percentage of presence in the soil determines their kind. Here are some. Loam soil is a balanced mix of sand, silt, and clay. Loam provides good drainage while retaining enough moisture for plant growth. Sandy loam soil, as the name says, is similar to loam but with a higher proportion of sand, making it drain even faster. So you may need to water your plants more. Clay soil is while holding more moisture and nutrients, clay can become compacted and poorly drained. Presence of air, less air in this kind of soil hinders root growth. And found in some areas of Texas is sandy soil. It drains quickly but can dry out very easily, potentially requiring more frequent watering. North Texas soil here in County is mostly clay, and we'll get to that in the next slide. There are many different soil types in our region. Clay, sand, or loam soil mixtures are scattered throughout North Texas area, with clay being the most common. It is important for you to know your predominant soil type since it will determine which plants to select, watering techniques to use, or to what extent fertilizers will be needed. Use a simple soil test to give you a rough idea about the predominant soil type where you are planting. Perform this test when the soil has a moist feel as opposed to being dry or wet to the touch. Squeeze a ball of soil in your hand. Next, press the soil between your thumb and fingers. Clay soil feels smooth and sticky. It forms ribbons when pressed between your fingers. Loam soil is smooth, slick, partially gritty, and sticky. It forms a ball that crumbles easily. Sandy soil is loose and very gritty. It will fall apart instead of forming a ball. So, what do you do? If you have a bigger area uh, to address the soil problem, then you can go for professional soil testing. There's a QR code on the slide. Texas A&M AgriLife Extension offers it. And you can go on this website and they have a form that you have to fill up. They have a certain method of you can pick up soil from the different areas of your land that you want to get tested and send it to them, and they'll send you back the professional, matter-wise result. They break it down for you. Okay. So Collin County, according to this map, lies in the Texas Blackland Prairie. It is a temperate grassland ecoregion known for its fertile, dark, and deep soils. It's historically supported a vast expanse of tallgrass prairie, but today much of the area has been used for agriculture. Dominant native grasses include big blue stem, little blue stem, Indian grass, and switchgrass. Crops like cotton, corn, milo, and wheat are also prevalent in the region due to its agricultural productivity. But gardening in the Blackland Prairie of Texas presents unique challenges and opportunities due to its distinctive soil and climate. The region's clay-rich black soil, while fertile, can be dense and slow to drain, leading to water retention and poor oxygen of the plant roots. This soil rec- nu- this soil nutrient bioavailability also is poor, even though it is a fertile soil. Successful gardening in this area requires adapting to the soil and choosing the right plants and managing the water effectively. So, how do you amend your soil? Oh, by the way, the map on the right, you can go and visit that map on the nat on this QR code. This is the website for native plants of Texas, and that's the ecoregion map that I have a screen grab of. So, how do you amend your soil? Incorporating organic matter like compost, peat moss, or well rotted manure can improve soil structure and fertility. I have put the City of Plano's composting link in a QR code over there on the screen. You can take a screen grab of that. And there's a lot of information on composting from the city of Plano in that link. So let's talk about what do we do if you have raised beds. When you have too large an area with a difficult soil, you can do one thing, you can narrow down to a small raised bed. Constructing raised beds with a mixture of topsoil, compost, and other amendments can create an ideal growing medium, especially for areas with heavy clay soil. You can go the mulching way. Mulching reduces water loss from the soil, reduces weeds, moderates soil temperatures, and prevents soil erosion. Mulch prevents the hot, drying Texas sun and wind from causing rapid evaporation from the soil surface, and this reduces soil cracking and soil erosion and increases soil fertility. Composting is the result of decayed organic matter such as yard trimmings or kitchen scraps and provides nutrients to the soil. It also adds beneficial microbes, attracts worms, and helps retain moisture in the soil. Bioavailability of nutrients increases with the presence of beneficial microbes in the soil. And if you make your own compost, it's cost effective too. Of course, you can also get compost from Texas Pure in Plano. Please note that almost any soil in North Central Texas will benefit from the addition of organic matter, such as compost. And it's recommended for every 1,000 square feet, add about 3 cubic yards of organic material. And it is recommended in several websites. Um, and if you go to the Texas Pure website, that is there too. Sahar, can you please put the link to the composting website of Plano?
Yes, definitely.
Thank you. Let's talk about water. That's the first thing I want to talk about is overwatering. Overwatering is the major reason of plant problems in our gardens because it deprives the plant roots of oxygen, leads to suffocation and decay of the roots, and it is also called root rot. See, water is a limited source, and conserving it is very, very important, especially in areas facing drought or scarcity. Prudent use of water in garden helps reduce water bills, support healthier plant growth, and protects the environment by minimizing runoffs and soil erosion. Overwatering fills up the air in between soil particles. No oxygen is available to the roots, leading to root rot. Not enough water and the roots dry out. So most beginning houseplant gardeners tend to water their plants too much and too often. Water conservation, and I'm guilty of that. Water conservation is your in your garden can happen with good planning. Choose native drought tolerant plants for low water areas. These plants have evolved to thrive in the local climate and soil conditions, developing deep root systems that efficiently access underground water and adaptations for drought tolerance, like waxy leaves or reduced leaf size, all of which drastically reduces or eliminates the need for supplemental watering. This adaptations makes them more drought tolerant than non-native species, leading to less water consumption for house owners. Time and frequency of watering, that's important for Texas. Summer will need more watering than in winter, of course, when most of the garden in winter is not actively growing. In summers, the best time to water is between 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. It gives the soil to soak in and minimize water loss through evaporation. It is not recommended to water between 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. These are the hottest hours of the day when water will quickly evaporate before it can benefit your landscape. So keep in mind that new plants might have to be watered daily till they are established, but for the rest of the your landscape, you make sure you water either in the early mornings between 5 to 9 so they're not wasting water. Third is mulching again. Mulching creates a barrier that keeps moisture in the soil, keeps soil cooler to slow evaporation, blocks the sunlight to inhibit weeds that compete for water, and breaks the impact of raindrops to prevent soil loss. Organic mulches also improve soil structure, enhancing its ability to absorb and retain water over time. So, what about watering indoor plants? We water them from the bottom. That's the best, just like in the picture. This lets the top layer dry out and doesn't attract fungus gnats, those annoying insects. Bottom watering encourages the roots to absorb moisture as needed and prevents overwatering. Different plants from different watering needs. Tropical plants need watering more often than succulents. So, example, peace lily needs water every week, while snake plants can be watered just once a month. So, what do you do when you, for your indoor plants? You check the soil before watering. Water by how the soil feels. Most roots go deep and aren't sitting close to the surface. So just because the top of the soil looks dry, it doesn't mean that the roots far down are dry or the soil at the bottom of the pot is dry. If you're unsure or just don't want to stick your finger in the soil, use the moisture meter when watering large floor plants. Next is exposure to light, to temperature and humidity the plant is in. This is simple. More light means more watering frequency. Less light means less watering frequency because there's less loss of water. The warmer the temperature of your home, the faster your plants will dry out. But in cooler climates, there's less evaporation, so water needs are lower. Then humidity. The higher the humidity, the higher the humidity, the slower the mix will dry out, especially potting soil. Air conditioned rooms then to be drier, they tend to be drier, and plants will need more water. Resting period for most plants is winters and darker times. They just need maintenance water. So you have to go low, very low on your watering. The next thing that you have to keep in mind while watering is the size of the pot or the type of the pot you have. Smaller pots dry out more quickly, so plants in them need more frequent watering. In contrast, larger pots retain moisture longer, requiring less frequent watering. And they are easier to water because they don't need it as often. Terracotta and clay plots, as well as unglazed pots, are porous, which means air can get into the root ball. Plants in these types of pots may need watering a bit more often than those in plastic or directly planted in ceramic or resin pots. It's best if the pots have drainage holes so the excess water can flow out of the bottom. Let's talk about the water quality. What kind of water we should use to water our plants? This is mostly for indoor because you cannot uh, make the 24-hour thing for your outdoor plants. Uh, so most tap water is safe for houseplants, but it's best to let it sit out for 24 hours to allow the chlorine to dissipate. Rainwater is generally beneficial for indoor plants because it is naturally soft, low in mineral content, and often contains beneficial nutrients like nitrogens. It's also free of chlorine and other chemicals commonly found in tap water. Um, I don't know about others, but I put my pots out when it rains, fill for the bigger plants, uh, and water with rainwater because house plants really love that. And the last is watering lawns. Lawns are water guzzlers, but these are some tips that can save some water for you. Only water when the landscape needs it, and only on your assigned watering days. Skip watering if it is if the rain is in the forecast or it's raining, or use sprinkler systems with rain sensors. For personalized advice based on local weather, sign up for the free weekly tip at the watermyyard.org. This program uses local water weather data in sponsored areas to provide free weekly watering advice that comes to your inbox. The QR code is on your screen. Uh, and Sahar will drop in the link. Do not water during hottest hours of the day. Again, the same as before. And low flow drip irrigation systems are better for your plant beds than sprinklers. I'll stop for questions here. Sahara, are there any questions?
I'm not seeing any questions so far. If you guys do have any questions, again, type in the chat or the Q&A feature.
Awesome. Let's move on to the next slide. Plants, perennials versus annuals. You hear the words annual, perennial on the, and you read it on the plant tags and in garden books. But what do these terms mean? And why is understanding the difference so useful? Simply put, annual plants die in the winter season, so you must replant them every year, while perennials come back every year, so you only plant them once. Annuals complete their entire life cycle from germination to seed production within a single growing season. So they usually boost incredible flower power, introducing instant color to your landscapes. Annuals are budget friendly, but it is an yearly expense. Perennials, they live for 3 years or more, returning each spring from the same root system after dying back in winter. They are a good investment. Perennials provide stable, long term structure to the garden and are more water wise and resilient. But many annuals are tropical plants, native to south of the border locales where there's no frost. These plants may perform as perennials in warmer regions, but in areas with frost, they behave like annuals. Say lantana and geranium, for instance, are annuals in northern areas but behave like perennials in South Florida or here in Texas, surviving over winter or sending up new growth from the spot they were planted each spring. Plants like impatiens or wishbone flower are true annuals even in North America, and need so northern part of the country, and need equatorial conditions to survive year round. So I've been saying about native plants all through the presentation today, um, and we're going to talk about them now. Native plants are species that have naturally occurred and evolved in a specific geographic region or ecosystem for thousands of years, adapting to the local climate, soils, and other native plants and animals. These plants are crucial for supporting the local food web, providing habitat and food for native wildlife, conserving water due to their adaptation to local conditions, and helping maintain soil health and structure.
All
Let's look
right,
at these.
sorry,
Yeah,
we have a question.
yeah.
Okay, we have from Carol, what are good North Texas perennials?
Actually, we'll come to that. So hold on to your questions. We have a few that we put in the presentation, and we have links for you to go and look at the long list.
Perfect, sounds good.
Thank you. So low maintenance. Native plants are adapted to local conditions, meaning that they often require less watering, fertilization, and pest control than non native species. They are naturally resistant to many local pests and diseases. They conserve water. Native plants are typically drought tolerant, meaning they require less water than many non native plants, and they are adapted to the local rainfall patterns. This can lead to significant water savings, especially in regions with water scarcity. They support wildlife by providing essential food and shelter for local wildlife, including insects, birds, and other animals. They also play a crucial role in the food chain, supporting a healthy and balanced ecosystem. For example, native plants are vital for pollinators like bees and butterflies, which are essential for reproduction of many plants. Planting a variety of native plants can create a more diverse and resilient ecosystem. This biodiversity is important for overall health and stability of the environment. Native plants also help in erosion control and reduce pollution. Many native plants have deep root system that help stabilize soil and prevent erosion, especially on slopes or in areas with heavy rainfall. By requiring less maintenance, native plants can reduce the need for fertilizers and pesticides, which can contribute to water and air pollution and harm the pollinators. They also help to reduce water runoffs, which can carry pollutants into waterways. And the last is cost saving. Due to low maintenance requirements of these plants, they can save you time and money because you don't need to put in anything in the fertilizers. You don't need to put in too much of pesticides or water. So, time and money saving plants. So, this is where we come to some of the popular natives. Uh, and this is from the same website, the Native Plant Society of Texas that we were talking about earlier. And there is a whole list there, which I have picked some of the plants that I really like. The first one here is purple coneflower or echinaceas. They bloom from April to September with showy pink and purple blooms. They can grow in sand, loam, clay, and limestone soil. So you see how they grow in any conditions. Popular and widely available, they attract butterflies and hummingbirds, song and game birds. They relish the seeds. Red columbine, and I cannot pronounce the other name, uh, blooms in spring with nodding red with yellow center flowers, can grow in sand, loam, limestone, moist and well-drained soil. Their delicate fern-like foliage are very beautiful and valued for its shade tolerance. Black-eyed Susan or Rudbeckia blooms from May to September, likes well-drained sand, loam, and clay soil. True native, which is easily grown from seeds, it attracts butterflies and birds. And something for fall aster. Blooms in fall with these purple flowers, thrives in North Texas soil, and provides color to your fall garden. It is a source of nectar for the migrating monarchs and other butterflies. So these were some flowering plants. This is some flowering shrubs. Texas sage, and you would have seen both of these on the highways a lot of times. It blooms from spring to summer with pinkish purple, white, and lavender flowers. Any kind of well-drained soil here is good for it. This is also called the barometric bush. As atmospheric pressures changes, it stimulates its boom. It, the whole bush just bursts into blooms, and you will see that just before any rain is predicted. And last is the red yucca. These are all plants that I've picked from Native Plant Society of Texas website. Sahar would have a link of that, the Texas list. Can you drop it in the chat?
Yeah, it's now in the chat. Let me go ahead and read.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
And for the person who asked that question, there are also other trees, and I think tall trees, shade trees, all mentioned in that list. So here is again the same sources that I picked up these information from. So Native Plant Society of Texas, the Texas superstars. This is they are called superstars because they have been extensively time tested in these ecoregion, and they have performed very well. So you can pick up your plants that you want to plant in your garden from these lists, this Texas superstar list, and the QR code is on the right. Then Collin County Master Gardeners Association's website, they also have a list of top 100 plants for North Texas. And it has, shade plants, full sun plants. They have the covering ground cover plants. Everything is in that list. I'll let you scan that for a moment. Okay, let's move ahead. I have a list of the main seasonal tasks that we have coming up for the fall season. In North Texas, fall gardening allows you to enjoy fresh produce and vibrant blooms for an extended period of time. By planting in early fall, you can take advantage of the warm soil and moderate temperatures to grow a wide range of cool season crops and flowers. So in September, this is the time to plant lots of color for fall, that is chrysanthemums. In pots or in ground, it is a perennial plant, will come again. Plant fast-growing, cool season veggies like bean, broccoli, carrot, cabbage, onion, garlic, spinach, and more. This is the time to divide perennials if they have become crowded and prune dead branches off the trees. This is also a good time for fertilizing your lawns and mulch your beds now to prepare for winters. October, it is a prime time to plant bluebonnet seeds. Garlic can still be planted, and so can herbs like oregano and thyme. Prune dead growth, ornamental shade, and fruit, and most trees can be planted in October. Start moving all your tender plants into a protected area for the winter. And in November, if you're considering growing cover crops to protect your soil and prevent weeds, this is a good time. You must not fertilize perennials in late October or November because it may promote foliage growth, which can be susceptible to frost or freeze damage, harming the plant. Compost your fall leaves or spread them on bare soil to act as mulch. And this is the time to protect any tender plants, move them in a garage or insulated area. Keep all ceramic, clay, and porcelain pots away from freezing temperatures, and water the garden and landscape if you haven't received any rain. In December, you must plan. You need to just sit back and relax. You can plan your next year's garden and care for indoor plants. Just enjoy the break. And lastly, for winters, do remember that birds still need food and water. So before we move on to how you can search for books or resources on library, in the library, does anyone have any questions?
I'm not seeing any questions.
All right,
Yeah,
we can continue. Great.
yeah.
Right, so this is a screen grab from the library search page, our catalog page, and I searched these terms. These terms I'm giving you on the screen: native plants or garden in Texas or water-wise gardens will give you good results for some wonderful books on native plants or gardening in Texas. Here, native plants gave me 79 results on just books. Water-wise gardens is another term that brings up very good results on the books that the library might have for you. This is a resource that is used less or known less by gardeners, but the library has online magazines with the latest editions that you can sit at home and browse through on Libby or Flipster magazine or press readers. And on our catalog page, it's on the right side. I have highlighted them in yellow. This is again a screen grab from our catalog page with some of the magazines that I've found interesting, and I found them on Libby or Press Reader. If you have any questions as to how to browse that, you can call the library, and we can do a walkthrough with that over the phone too. All right, with that, we come to the very end. There are some upcoming programs that are happening, and we have the information on the screen. You can take a picture. And if you have any questions, now is the time.
Okay, it looks like we have a question. I the leaves I rake for my tree in okay, so it looks like they use tree leaves for compost for their garden and veggie and flower garden. Is that okay to use?
Yes, and the leaves, you can have a separate leaf composting part that you can uh, put separate and rake all your leaves up there and keep it separate from your compost pile, or you can mix both of them up, whichever way you prefer.
Cool.
The website or the link that we shared with you about composting um, handles both of those questions if you want to go and look.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and post that composting link as well
Yeah.
again. We'll give it about another minute or two for questions. Okay, it's looking like we're good.
Good. Well, okay, thank you everyone. This concludes today's class on Plant Smarter in North Texas. If you have any questions from the library, you can submit them to Ask PPL tab. That's there on our website. Or you can, my email is on the screen for you. If you want any gardening questions, we'll try and find out an answer for you and send that to you. You can view the recording of this class and other virtual programs on our YouTube channel. Thanks again for joining us today.